Hi guys, it's been a while since I've been on this platform. I've not been feeling well and I've had so many things, but today I wanted to do a video just for Mother's Day, a special video for moms outside there. Whether you're a biological mom, a mom taking care of adopted children, stepkids, taking care of your children's kids, relatives, a mom is a mom at the end of the day, someone who is taking care of another human being. So you all know that I've been a mom for the last maybe 12 years. I have my stepkids, I have my biological kid, and I have my adopted children. And the challenges of being a mom are quite the same across board. So my own experience is that motherhood is getting harder and harder with all the expectations that society has. And nowadays we also have expectations that we have social media, which displays, I always look at mothers on social media, those celeb moms who they walk around with high heels, their nails are well done, their kids look perfect, everything looks rosy, and I wonder how do they do it? Well, I myself am struggling. I'm struggling to raise my 6 children, and some days I succeed and some days I don't. So I want to talk to you, to mothers out there, and to share a few of my lessons that I've learned. So one of them is when you're a mom, I feel that it is important to be able to sometimes voice your frustrations. Talk and say when it's hard. Talk to someone who definitely, who will not go sit there and blabber to everyone, but someone who's maybe a close friend, or even your mom. Share sometimes when it's difficult. Don't struggle alone, Some mothers I know who've given birth and have postnatal depression, and didn't seek help, and people didn't understand them. I feel it's because we don't, as a society, we don't tend to share our struggles. It's like mothers are supposed to be superwomen. They're supposed to be extra strong. So I feel like that's one of the things that share with someone. Find someone and say, you know what, I'm drowning. I'm having a challenge here and here. I'm having a challenge with breastfeeding my child, sleep training my child. Even like for me, teenagers, sometimes I ask other parents, like, how do you do it? Sometimes I don't get my teenagers. They're like, I feel like they're different species altogether. So I ask other parents, do your teenagers do this? For example, I ask other parents, do your teenagers, especially the boys, go and just lock themselves in the room, eat in the room, they don't talk much, they give you one-word answers, or is it just mine alone? Another thing as a mom, I feel like is you need to be careful not to compare too much, especially in this day and age of social media. What sometimes you see on social media is not necessarily the real story. Social media is there for an aesthetic value. There's no one who's going to go there and tell you some of the struggles they're dealing with at home with their children. So you can get inspiration and stuff, but don't feel the pressure that your child has to be perfect. I'll give you an example. I feel the pressure with my little one, Sean, because I kind of feel like sometimes I go to school and other children are ahead in terms of their schoolwork, in terms of maybe a certain sport, and I'm wondering, will my child ever find what they enjoy doing, And so I've learned to sometimes just breathe and tell myself, you know what, Kathy, just every child at their own pace. And I've noticed nowadays, I don't know if you have noticed, that in school we have this, I don't know, mother gangs or whatever, where mothers actually compete personally. Like when their child is in a swimming gala, you find the mother is so tense, it's like themselves. So it becomes a competition between the parents, the moms, instead of the kids. And I feel it's unnecessary because at the end of the day, that pressure translates to the child, and we end up putting too much pressure on ourselves. So as a parent, as a mom, as long as you're doing the best you can, please don't build up unnecessary pressure by comparing yourself with other kids from your mom friends. Something else which I learned maybe 2-3 years ago is to have a group of moms who you can consult with in terms of school stuff. There are those moms in school who know what is happening. I'm not among them, sadly, and the mom who doesn't know much of what is happening. So I found a group of 1-2 moms I could trust, who I could ask them what is happening in school, or what system in this school works, how do I go about it. Having those 2-3 moms who you can go and consult and be your support system. For moms, also having good help at home, like good support system in terms of having your nannies, if you're able to have your drivers, if you're able to have people around you help, it's also a plus for me. I really value my employees at home, our nannies, our cleaners, the drivers, the gardeners. Without them, then the home won't run swiftly. So having a good support system, like when they come to you, most of the nannies might not know much, and maybe you don't have the time to teach them because you have to go to work and you're busy. All I'd say is, as long as you find someone who has a good attitude, you can train them. An attitude is all you need, a good attitude, and be patient with them and treat them well. These are the people you're leaving your children with. Let them eat the food you're eating. When they fall sick, if you're able to afford, take them to hospital. Pay them well. Because at the end of the day, without them, then I personally, myself, I always say I wouldn't have been able to run my home without the support system of my employees at home. All of them play a part. So I treat them very well. I treat them like family so that even they feel they belong. And also, if you can support them even with their own children. For example, you find one of them is struggling with high school fees once in a while, support them. Because they are a vital part in keeping my sanity. Without them, I'd be going mad. Knowing that I can travel for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and my kids are well taken care of, nothing can compare. Even the money I pay them is not enough. So yeah, find a good team at home that can help and support you. Another point is self-care for moms. When you feel tired, when you feel overwhelmed, please take your time out. Get a break. It took me many years to be able to do that, especially having the setup at home that we have, where I had teenagers at the same time, young kids. So I always was worried and I was always anxious, and I feel like if I take a break for a few days, the house is going to be upside down. And then I told myself, you know what, they won't die, they would burn the house down. So I've learned to take a break. I've learned sometimes even to just decide, today evening, I can go to even on my own, watch a movie, go read a book, have a glass of wine, have my me time. I always joke with my teenagers. I tell them, when they lock themselves in the rooms, I also want to lock myself in the room. Like, I also want my me time. So don't feel shy to take your me time and don't feel guilty. My other point is, in the world of today, I'm noticing that a lot of moms or parents are really trying to keep up with the Joneses, for lack of a better way of saying it, is where you feel the pressure to drive a certain car, to live in a certain place, to take your kids for holidays, every summer holidays. And that's just putting unnecessary pressure for yourself, I got to learn the other day that people are even taking loans to pay school fees, And I'm thinking, if a child is in year 1 or year 2, it's kindergarten. If I'm taking loans to pay school fees right now, what will happen when they're in campus, So just take your children to schools you can afford. Live a lifestyle you can afford within your means. Because when there's no bad pressure, like unnecessary pressure for money, There's the normal where I'm taking my child to a school where it's beyond my means. Then I'll struggle, and that means it puts pressure in the home, it puts pressure in your marriage, it puts pressure for everyone. So I'd really advise, like I'm very open with my children according to their level, depending how I'll explain to the children is not how I'll explain to Sean. But I'm able to tell them, what, you might not be able to afford a holiday this summer because this and this is happening, and next time. And I don't feel any shame in the game. I'm able even to tell my friends, yeah, I know as the 2 or 3 families will agree to go somewhere, but I'll opt out because I can't afford this time round. So that's another thing which I'm seeing most moms and parents are struggling with in this times that we live in. So live within your means and don't feel ashamed of your financial situation, because it's never permanent in life. And trust me, when you live within your means and you're able to explain to your children that this is what you can afford, it makes everything so much easier. For moms like me who have teenagers at home, I'd encourage us to stop overprotecting our children when we don't expose them to real life situations, because the more we protect them, we're not helping them, because they're getting older, they're going to the world, we're releasing them to the world. Let us try and build resilience in them. Let us have a chat with them. Like sometimes I sit to my kids and tell them, guys, heartbreak is part of life. Rejection is part of life. Failing exams is part of life. Waking up in the morning and feeling sad, having sometimes no drive to do things is normal. It's part of life. Life is not smooth. Life is not black and white. So that when these children experience these things, then they know, oh, it happens. But we don't tell our children to protect them so much. When they go, say, there, someone has their first breakup, they feel like it's the end of the world. Someone goes and decides to do a course and then it doesn't work out and they want to change it. They feel like, no, my life is over. Let's teach our children that life has its ups and downs. And if there's one guarantee in life, is that there are ups and downs. So the more you talk to them about reality and being able to place their feet firmly in the ground, the easier it becomes to them. Teach them that, even us, when we went to campus, we didn't, or when we were in school, we weren't always number one. But I tell my kids, my second year in campus, if I showed them the results, I showed them the other day, they laughed. I even had one supplementary. So even us, we face these struggles, and we were finding ourselves. And even now as their mom, I'm still finding myself. I'm still finding my way in terms of my own personal life, in terms of being a good parent or a parent that is able to keep in touch with the children. So even I don't have it figured out. So that really helps, especially for us moms, because we're the ones who stay at home a lot of times with the kids. Find time to talk to the children. Every time. Like for me, like when they're home at summer, I use that time to bring up many issues. We talk about sex. We talk about the different sexual orientation there are nowadays. Nowadays there's all kinds of things, and you do that so that you tell your child that it is okay. You're still in the process of finding yourself. We talk about what if my career doesn't work out. We talk about I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. We discuss. Some of them even share their fears. They say, nowadays I cannot trust anyone. There's a lot of HIV going around, and I tell them, you know what? That doesn't stop you from trying. Even if someone broke you up, keep trying, because even us, we wouldn't have found our partners if we didn't try. So use that time when the kids are at home to talk. So I encourage man teenagers to start talking and having those difficult conversations with your kids. And yeah, like I said in the beginning, motherhood is tough, but it has its joys. It's a wonderful journey when you find yourself in it, like me, without planning it. Embrace it and do the best you can. Stop beating yourself down every day. We are good at doing that. You're like, oh, this child is not doing well in school, what can I do? Sometimes we have to watch and let things go wrong, and so that people learn their lessons. And so as a mother outside there, I'd say you're doing a wonderful job, keep doing what you're doing, and we all know that there are a lot of rewards, the amount of love. My children have taught me what the real meaning of love is. They've challenged me emotionally, they've challenged me mentally, they've challenged me physically. And here I am 12 years later, and I wouldn't change it for anything. So for all moms out there in whatever capacities, happy Mother's Day, and you're doing an amazing job.